teach you a very important and requested lesson, which is how to create plurals in Arabic. Plurals are pretty difficult. There are a lot of irregular plurals, masculine and feminine plurals. I'm going to teach you everything in detail. I'm going to give you more than 10 or 12 categories to follow, and I'm going to give you an infinite number of examples. So after this video, or after this lesson, you will know everything about how to transform from singular to plural in Arabic. Before we start with the lesson, I want you to make sure to subscribe to the channel if you like this video, and make sure to turn on the notifications, and make sure to follow me on Instagram because you have a lot of Arabic quizzes, a lot of Arabic content, recipes and vlogs from my Arab life in Italy. Make sure to follow me there, and let's get started. So first thing we need to know before learning the plurals is that we have a distinction between masculine nouns and feminine nouns in Arabic, and you probably know this already. We have the word walad, which is a masculine singular noun, which means boy, and we have the word zawja, for example, which is a singular feminine noun, which means wife. The symbol for the feminine singular nouns is the ta marbuta that you can see at the ending of the word zawja, wife. This ta marbuta, I've made a full lesson about it, and today I'm not going to concentrate on that. I'm going to concentrate on the plurals. So we have a distinction between masculine and feminine nouns in the plural. So we have two kinds of plurals that we need to learn. The feminine plurals are pretty regular, so I'm going to leave them until the end of this video. I'm going to concentrate now on the masculine plural. The masculine plural has two different ways. There is a rule in order to make the plural, which is adding some kind of letters, and there is the other category, which are irregular plurals. What is the good news? The good news is that we have a rule and we can follow it, and it's very easy. We can add two letters to any singular masculine word and we can transform it into the plural. Just like a simple S rule in English, boy, boys, adding the S transforms the word to plural. This happens also in Arabic. That's the good news. The bad news is that this rule applies to only 10% of our nouns. That's the bad news. That's a very big bad news, which means 90% of our masculine nouns have irregular plural, which means we don't have a rule to follow and we're gonna commit suicide. No, don't commit suicide, because Maha's gonna simplify everything and I'm going to teach you exactly how to use the irregular plural. Now let's begin with the regular plural. Remember, we're talking about masculine plural. What is the rule? How do we transform, for example, the word muhandis, which means an engineer, into many engineers? I'm not talking about muhandis, I'm talking about a lot of muhandis. How do we transform it? The rule says you have to add the letters U and N. These letters, un is the sound, and the letters are waw and noon, two letters. If you add un to any word that is a singular masculine, you transform it into the plural. Let's try to work it with the word muhandis, engineer, many engineers, muhandisun, muhandisun. Let's try with the word teacher, muallim, muallim. How do I make teachers? We're talking about male teachers, of course. Muallim becomes muallimun. Easy. You follow the rule and it works. And you have the plural. Only 10% of the situations. Let me give you another example of regular plural. It's very difficult for me to have ideas because, as I told you, we have only 10% of the words follow the rule, adding un to transform them into the plural, and the rest, 90% of the words are irregular. But let me think about one more regular. Let me give you adjectives. Adjectives, by the way, almost all of them follow the rule. So the adjective jamil, beautiful. Jamil, many beautifuls, many beautiful men or boys or books. Beautiful, in the plural it becomes jamilun, jamil, jamilun. You see, it follows the rule. Muhami, many lawyers, muhamiyun, just add un. Muhami, muhamiyun. And I'm going to give you one last noun to show you how we apply the normal plural rule. In the masculine, remember we're talking, look, the first part of the video is only about masculine plurals, is the noun mumarrid. Mumarrid, it means a nurse. Mumarrid. How do we make a lot of nurses? Mumarridun. Mumarrid, mumarridun. Mumarridun. These were examples of normal regular plural. Adding un. This is the rule. We said before that this rule is applied only to 10%. We have found some examples, and I showed you some examples of how to transform these 10% of words from singular masculine to plural masculine. Now we're going to concentrate on something that is called the irregular plural, which is found in 90% of our nouns, and in Arabic it's called the broken plural. Broken plural because it's irregular. It's like another kind of way to say irregular. Broken in Arabic, by the way, broken plural is جمع التكسير. تكسير, broken. جمع is plural. جمع التكسير. تكسير. So we're going to concentrate now on the irregular plural, which is a very difficult subject because it's irregular, but I'm going to simplify it and show you how you can take out of the irregularity and create some patterns to help you put the words together. So in short, how to create some rules for you inside the irregular rule, not rule, but how to find regularity from the irregularity. Okay, let's do that. Let's take for example the word bayt, which means house. A very simple basic Arabic word, bayt. If I want a house is masculine, by the way. How do I create the plural of this bayt? If I try according to the rule, which is adding un, it becomes baytun. Baytun unfortunately is not correct. It's not an Arabic word. If you say baytun, nobody will understand that you mean a lot of houses, a lot of bayt. No, because it has an irregular broken plural. How do I know how to create the irregular plural? Irregular plural unfortunately means that you have to memorize each noun and its irregular plural. That's the thing that you have to do. But I'm going to simplify it to you, and I'm going to create different patterns. There are, fortunately, a lot of patterns where you can put certain kind of words that sound the same or look the same into these kind of patterns, so you can create rules for yourself and see that a lot of words are filled into these kind of patterns and they have the same sound eventually in the plural. For example, first pattern is adding an u as a second to last letter. For example, if I have the word bayt, okay, bayt, I want to make the plural of bayt. If I insert an waw, the letter u, before the last letter, it becomes buyut. Bayt, buyut, and that's the plural of the word bayt. Bayt, buyut. So the first pattern actually falls under the root letters fu'ul. This is the pattern, fu'ul. I think you know root letters. I taught you a full lesson about it, and I don't want to make this lesson too long, so please click here. It will lead you to the lesson of root letters, because Arabic, like many Semitic languages, are based into 3 root letters. These are the main semantic meanings of each word, and the vowels that we add are just for grammatical usage. And here we are going to use the root letters, which are usually pronounced as fa'ala, 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 because it means the verb. Anyways, I don't want to complicate your lives, but fa'al, let's take it as our rule, or our noun in this case. Bayt is fa'al, ba, yi, t, 3 root letters, and to these 3 root letters we're going to add some vowels or some extra letters. These extra letters are the patterns that we're going to use into creating the plurals. Okay, so let's look at the first rule. We said bayt, fa'ala, and it became buyut. So what did we do? We added, before the last letter, which is the ta, we added an u, and we changed the short vowels. So instead of ba, it's bu, buyut, buyut. So the first pattern of irregular plural is adding an u before the last letter and transforming the first a into u, and it becomes buyut. Let's take some examples that follow this pattern, or that fall in this pattern of plural masculine. For example, the word tayr. Tayr becomes tuyur. Tayr means a bird. Tuyur, just like bayt, buyut. Junud, junud. Jundi, جنود. جنود are soldiers. That's a plural. جنود. Like بيوت, like طيور. قلوب. قلوب. It's the plural of قلب, which means heart. Many hearts are قلوب. You can feel some kind of pattern going on here. طير طيور, جنود, قلوب, or one more, قصر, قصور. قصر means a castle. قصور, castles. You can see the pattern. Add an U before the last letter. Transform the whole pattern into فعول, and you will get a lot of words that are inserted in this pattern. So, in short, you don't need to learn every word, every noun, and its irregular plural. No, just learn these patterns. Learn these 12 or 13 patterns that I'm going to give you, and this way you will know each word where it belongs, because it sounds and it rhymes with the same root letters or the same pattern, and this way you can just memorize the patterns and not all the words, and put the words inside these 12 patterns, and that's it. This is how to simplify your life. I know it's still difficult, it's not that easy, but it's much more difficult to learn each word and its irregular plural. Imagine how many words we have in Arabic. Or learn just the patterns and fill in these patterns, and you will get used to them. Believe me, after you know 5 words for each pattern like I'm giving you now, you will be able to memorize many more words and to understand how their plural is made. I'm not going to leave out anything. I'm going to give you all the patterns, but I'm going to start with the most important ones, or the most used ones, or where most of the words fall, which are in the first 3 patterns. I'm going to give you the first pattern was فعول, بيوت, قصور, جنود, طيور, and let's go to the second pattern. The second pattern falls under the sound أفعال. So what you have to add usually is an alif at the beginning and an alif before the last letter. أفعال. One example is the word أوراق. أوراق. أوراق means papers. It's the plural of the word ورق. It begins with this a, and there's an a before the last letter. أوراق. Then it's a plural, an irregular plural that falls into the second category, which is أفعال. أوراق. ألواح. ألواح is the plural of لوح. لوح means board. لوح. ألواح. Boards. أبواب. Where does it fall? The second category. أبواب. It's a plural of the word باب. باب means door. أبواب. Doors. أبواب. أبواب. أولاد. You probably have heard of أولاد. أولاد is the plural of the word ولد. ولد. Boys. أولاد. Boys. What did we do? We added an alif at the beginning of the word ولد. A. So it became أو. And then we added an alif towards the ending, before the last letter. أولاد. Does it make sense? It makes a lot of sense. Include these words into these patterns and you will learn all the plurals, the irregular, unfortunate plurals of all words in Arabic. أقلام. أقلام. أقلام is the plural of the word قلم. قلم. أقلام. Again, we add an alif at the beginning and an alif towards the end. قلم. أقلام. Pen. Pens. The third category falls under the rhythm or the pattern فعال. فعال. So changing the first vowel into E and then adding an alif as second to last letter. فعال. I'll give you examples. The word بحر, which means sea, the plural is, I want you to think, فعال. So بحر becomes بحار. 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 بحر, sea. بحار, seas. بحار. رجال. رجال. رجال, it means men. It's the plural of the word رجل. What did we do? رجل, we changed the first vowel into E, so it became ri, and then we added an alif towards the ending. رجال, men. رجل, رجال. This rule in particular, it applies to a lot of the adjectives, the irregular adjectives. I told you most of the adjectives are regular, that you can just simply add un, جميل جميلون, طويل طويلون, etc. It can follow the rule, but it also has a lot of irregular plurals. And in the broken plural patterns, this is the pattern فعال that we're doing now, the third one. A lot of adjectives fall into this one. For example, let's take طويل, which means tall or long. طويل becomes طوال. طوال. طويل. طوال. Let's take also صغير. صغير, which means small. صغير becomes صغار. صغار. let's take kabir, which means big. It becomes kibar, kibar. The fourth pattern of irregular plural is simply staying with 3 letters and changing the vowels into oo. So the pattern is fu'ul, fu'ul. For example, kitab becomes kutub. So we're abbreviated into only 3 letters and we do this oo at the beginning. Kutub. Kutub, it means books and it's the plural of the word kitab. Kutub. Turuq. Turuq, it means roads or streets. It comes from the word tariq. Tariq, it got abbreviated into turuq. Turuq is the irregular plural, which means roads. A lot of colors have plurals in this category. So for example, ahmar, something that's red, it becomes humur. For example, a lot of yellows, plural of asfar, it becomes sufur. Sufur. A lot of blues, azraq becomes zuruq. Zuruq, very easy. You just take the 3 root letters and you add oo to the first and second letters. So short vowel oo. Humur, sufur, zuruq. The 5th pattern sounds or looks a lot like the 4th pattern, but the vowels change. Instead of oo, it's ua. So the pattern rule is fu'al. Fu'al. One example is the word ghurfa, which means room. The plural of the word room is ghuraf. Ghuraf. By the way, this is feminine plural, but it doesn't apply to the normal regular feminine plural. So ignore that for now. The plural of the word rooms is ghuraf and it falls under this irregular pattern. Ghuraf. Ghuraf. Lu'ab. Also lu'ab is very similar to ghuraf. Lu'ab means dolls or games. Lu'ab, it comes from the feminine plural, lu'ba, singular, lu'ba, game or doll or toy. Lu'ab. Ghurfa, ghuraf, rooms. Lu'ba, lu'ab, toy or game or doll.